In a world where nothing makes sense, listen as Dre and Ron try to do just that. Welcome to Augmented Reality.
You come in, close the door, take a seat, kick your feet up. We got a show today, boy. Come in,
Yes,
boy.
sir. How's it going this week, man?
Man, it's going. I'm back on the West Coast, man, for Thanksgiving. You know, been chilling. I'll be here until for a couple weeks, maybe another week after Thanksgiving. You know, I got a couple doctor's appointments lined up, so you know what I'm saying. The health is all
You
good.
finally about to
But
get that hysterectomy?
no. No.
I'll just fooling with you, man.
I'm sorry. Nah, not this guy. But anyway, so nah, man. What about you, man? What you been up to?
Man, same old work,
Yeah,
running around getting it.
So you the reason we didn't record last week, huh? For sure. I told you,
Hey,
people,
wait, I
it's
put
not
in
me.
work. Hold on. I put in work trying to clean up a past episode that we really want to get out to the world.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. We really want to
I
get that
put
episode out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I put in a lot of work on that, and I'm gonna go back and do it again because it's
For
still
sure.
tacked up.
For
But
sure. So, but anyway, man, let's get started with the
to
show.
it, man.
You know what really grinds my gears? You, America. Fuck you.
You know what grinds my gears?
What's that?
You blaming me for always not recording, man.
That's because it's always your fault, man. I'm ready to go.
Nah,
But anyway, man. So all jokes aside, man. So Stephen A. is allowed to continue to create this double standard. You know what I'm saying? He goes after Stephen A. is the male version of Oprah to me. He goes after the black athlete and gives the white athlete a break. For months, he been talking about Kyrie Irving not getting vaccinated, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? How he's selfish, he's an idiot because he's walking away from it. And then he even went at, I think he even went at Ben Simmons, but not for the same reason. But he went after every black NBA player that didn't want to get vaccinated. A couple weeks ago, Aaron Rodgers comes out. He tests positive for COVID, and they find out that he's not vaccinated. Stephen A. sweeps it under the rug. Doesn't say anything. Oh, he a bad man. Man, I don't give a fuck, bro. If you hold one accountable for not being vaccinated, you got to hold the other. You are a sports analyst. You know what I'm saying? But you give one a break and you don't give the other one. I don't understand it. But you know what I'm saying? That's what's really grinding my gears, man. The double standard. You know, us as black men, you know, we continue, us as black people continue to attack our people and give white folks or other races a break. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand it.
I'm waiting to see, and I haven't followed it to see what his comment about Anthony Brown's going to be. Antonio Brown, I'm sorry.
Antonio
supposedly
Brown,
having a fake vaccination card.
Well, I mean,
let me start with this. Like, I'm a Bears fan, so I'm putting all of that aside. I respect Aaron Rodgers for the NFL player that he is, the quarterback that he is. I got to give him that, right? But fuck him, because I'm a Bears fan. But I lost respect for him. No, you ain't going there. I lost respect for him because he tried to be slick, right? He tried to say, I'm immunized, right? Like, and he said he had sent a letter to the league saying that, can I use this alternative immunization process?
Yeah.
But I think the league interpreted it as that's being vaccinated, right? So he kind of used that double talk, you know how when you was trying to holler at a chick back in high school, you know what I'm saying? Like, you double talk, So I lost respect for him for that. And the main reason I did was, I remember when the Ryan Braun incident came up, with the steroids, and he was an advocate of Ryan Braun. And then when Ryan Braun came out to be a liar, he threw that boy so far under the bus. He was in the sewer, right? People forgot about that, right? Like Ryan Braun.
Dodger fans ain't forget about that
Right.
because that's the year Matt Kemp should have won MVP. 40-40.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm just saying Aaron Rodgers' reaction to that situation shows like I don't know. That grinds my gears. Like, and I get what you say about the Stephen A. Smith because he quick to say, "Stay off the weed, man," and all of that when it's the brothers. But like, only when it's one of those hot, and I'm using air quotes, hot, supposedly racial, social issues. Then he want to put on his black card shirt and be like, "I'm pro-black. I'm this. I'm that. I stand with your brothers." You know what I'm saying? Like I can't deal with it.
But his black card is like null and void, though. You know what I'm saying? Like his black card has been revoked. You know, black people don't mess with him no more.
Yeah. I mean, I still watch in the morning if I'm up.
Like, I don't. I don't. I stopped watching years ago. You know what I'm saying? I can't stand Stephen A. You know, he's built a reputation on continuously calling somebody a bum that's playing a sport he never played.
At that level, at least.
I don't care. You know what I'm saying? You've never reached this level, so you can't call somebody a bum. Anybody that makes it to the NBA, NFL, MLB,
NHL,
hockey, you ain't no bum.
Any of them.
You ain't no bum. Yeah, you might not be able to compete, you know, with the competition that's up there, but you ain't no bum. You know what I'm saying? Jamarcus Russell, he was a bust, but he wasn't no bum.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He got his money and kept doing stupid shit, but he ain't no bum.
Sipping on that syrup.
Right, sipping on that syrup. He started looking like less of a quarterback and more of an offensive lineman. You know what I'm saying? But to double back to the Aaron Rodgers thing, man, I thought you was honestly gonna say that you didn't like Aaron Rodgers because he's part owner of the Chicago Bears.
And you still got it in. And I told you, I knew that's where you was going, man. Nobody want to hear that, man. Man.
I was sitting here thinking, like, how am I gonna get this in? You know what I'm saying? But I got it. You didn't even see it coming.
I seen it coming. I should have muted your mic, man. I should have muted you because I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. I mean, you was gonna get it in eventually. You was gonna find a way. That's how petty you
are. I was gonna find a way. You know, at first I was like, man, I'm gonna hit him with it at the end of the show, but nah, I had to get it in right now because I might have forgot at the end of the show. But anyway, man, you know, but that's what really grinds my gears, man. It's the double standard, bro. You see it so many times, especially in the black community. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? We're quick to criticize and ridicule our own people and then give the other side a break. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy that the double standard even exists. You know what I'm saying?
And that's right is right, wrong is wrong. I think we've talked about this before. Like, it's a similar aspect of when we're discussing supporting black-owned businesses, right?
Yeah.
How you could go to let's say a white-owned restaurant, and they can mess up your food 5 straight times, and you still gonna give them a chance that 6th time. Whereas if you go to the black one, they mess it up once, you're done, right?
Yeah, like, and we looking for a discount.
And we looking for exactly. I was getting to that part too. Like, and it's like we want to support you, but in our process of supporting you, brother, give me 50% off every time I come up in here, because because we look alike. You know, like that's how are we supposed to make it, man? You got to separate things, right? So like
facts. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy.
I don't do that.
It's crazy because we like, man, black people, we should have our own. Man, if you look at the clothing lines, we had our own. We had Carl Kanan, we had Sean John, we had Rockaware. You know what I'm saying? We had so many clothing lines, but Soon as we got the opportunity, as soon as we got money, instead of going to support black businesses, we went and supported Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Birkin. You know what I'm saying? Like we could have gave these cats a run for their money, and we chose not to because of that status symbol that the Louis bag gives you, that the Gucci slides give you. You know, it's crazy.
So this is funny because we getting a slight off topic, but we had started discussing this the other day about FUBU, how FUBU should still be around and should be greater, right? And it just dawned on me like the way that our culture is emulated from other cultures, like from hip hop to how we dress, our quote unquote swag, whatever, of the black community. If we would have stuck with it and made a designer line of FUBU,
Or
and
Sean
that would
John.
be, or Sean John, or Rockaware, or any of them, like it's just, that just dawned on me like, man, we were on the precipice of something that could have been great. We could have we could have did it to all of them, right? But one thing, we allowed the media to uh, stereotype that apparel as inner city, ghetto, street, hip hop wears, right? Like
And
now
we allowed them to do it.
We allowed them to do it. Now, if you look at most of these like award shows and things like that, you see people in Gucci suits but wearing Jordans, right? Like
Facts.
we could have had it all, right? But we can't think out. We never really think, in my opinion. I'm not going to say all of us. We need to think further along the line, right? As opposed to just like right now. And I say that to say, like with our podcast, right? Like we know we only reaching the few of you that are listening now and might listen in the future. But I'm thinking years down this. We've talked about doing a radio show. We've talked about, you know what I'm saying,
Yep.
finding ways to get a live TV show just to bring some of this stuff out, right? So I'm thinking more so than just episode to episode that we record. When we record, according to you, because of me. But you know what I'm saying? When we first started this, I've been thinking about that, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah, we
I'll be
both
the
have.
first to admit, yeah, I'll be the first to admit I've let some obstacles get in the way of the complete vision. But it's like ah, just that just dawned on me now talking about this clothing topic.
But I ain't gonna let you take the whole blame because that's on me too. You know what I'm saying? At some point, I gotta hold you accountable just like you hold me accountable. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. I'm glad I let you
Yeah, man.
finish, man. I'm about to jump to the conclusion.
Allow me the
I'm about
latitude
to
of
come through with
completion.
the I'm about to come through with the left right combo on you, man.
Allow me the latitude of completion, my brother.
There you go.
You know what I'm
I'm
saying? But
sorry.
we ain't gonna gloss over the fact that you used the big word and precipice or whatever you said.
We were on the precipice of
Yeah.
whatever, man. Don't
Yeah,
be
but
mad at me
anyway.
because I scored high on my SAT. So, man, whatever. Let's get to the
I'm a straight meat and potatoes man.
So this meat and potatoes episode, right? This segment is kind of dear to my heart because this is my new addiction. Court TV is my new addiction. Uh, and it's kind of scary. Like the people in my job know. I could be in a Zoom meeting, and if I'm on mute too long, they're like, "You must be watching Court TV." You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but let's get into it. The Kyle Rittenhouse verdict came out last week, and he was guilty. I mean, he was found not guilty on all charges, right? And I want to get into some of the backlash um, that was heard after this. And I say that I have a court TV addiction because I want to say that I watched probably 80 to 85% of that trial, the coverage
Facts.
that was shown on court TV.
I can attest. I can
Right.
attest to that.
So
Every time I talk to you, you had it on in the background.
exactly. So I knew more facts than what was being fed to you through the media. And my thing was people tried to make it a race issue. He killed 2 white men and injured another one, right? People tried to make it a Black Lives Matter issue. Like, it was all the media, in my opinion, from the day it happened, it was the media's interpretation to try to get more ratings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I think we talked about it when the incident first happened. And I think I got to go back to listen to the episode. Looking at the first little clip of video that they showed, it was like, oh, yeah, that boy going to jail. You know what I'm saying? He flat out just...
I don't know, because I wasn't on the same wavelength as him going to jail. I think from the jump, I've always said that that was self-defense from the jump. You know what I'm saying? And I like you said, I probably have to go back and listen, but I believe that's self-defense has been my stance from the jump.
So I'm going to put it to you like this, and this is why I love Court TV, and any of these major trials that they do televise, I would recommend that you watch as much of the proceedings as you can, because you'll get more information than just what's spoon-fed to you through the media,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because as the trial began, I'm listening to the prosecution's opening argument, and he's halfway through. I'm like, oh, this boy guilty as sin. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's going, give him the chair, right? And then the defense gets up with their opening statement, and this was so funny to me, man. Like, I tell you this analogy I used earlier. The defense was 2 minutes into their opening statement, and the prosecution objects, which is normally unheard of. You don't object during the opening and closing arguments, right?
Right.
I use the analogy, the prosecution objected because he wanted to show parts of the video during his opening statement. And the prosecution's like, he can't do that. And the judge is like, why not? Right? So when I heard him say it, it reminded me of, you ever remember when you were, say, in grade school, you had a science project to do?
Mm-hmm.
And like, say your kid got to make a volcano, right?
Yeah.
And you do the bare minimum
Mm-hmm.
that you push the button once and it may erupt a little bit of volcano, right? But then you get to, and you think, all right, my project done. I'm good, right?
Right.
And then you see the kid next to you. He got like the foliage around it. He got a town. He got people running, right?
Yeah,
He
hold on,
done
man.
put the work, right?
Right.
Like, whoa. Hey, ain't nobody tell me we could do it like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the defense went in. It was so blatantly obvious to me that the defense was winning this case throughout the trial before they even put Rittenhouse on the stand. That at one point there was a couple times when the prosecution looked like he was trying to throw the case. Like, man, let me get a mistrial so I could start over. I need to hit the reset button.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the only thing that I did not like, and I think me and you discussed this, is when Kyle Rittenhouse was on the stand, he had that little breakdown moment, and I analyzed it. At first, I'm like, it looked fake, right?
Yeah.
But then we talked to a friend of ours and was like, he told us about PTSD, and like, you won't know until you've been through that. So, and there's plenty of funny memes out there with it.
Oh yeah.
I still think it was somewhat real and somewhat fake. And here's why. He went through the whole time of direct examination with his attorney, which they've probably been rehearsing since day one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he did not show any signs of emotion. But the second the prosecution asked him about the moment of the first shooting is when he broke down and did all the funny faces and things like that. That's why in the back of my mind, I'm like, the defense told him, when they get to that part, show some emotion, right? And that's what made me think it was fake. Even when they said the verdict, he kind of did it again. But then I'm looking at it then like, are you doing this to prove that the first time wasn't fake? Like, he fell all down to his knees and everything and made the same gestures of crying. So,
well, I think that the second time when they read the verdict, it was him like, my life isn't over. I have my life back. you have found me innocent. You agree that it was self-defense. And that's what I think that emotion was from. So I think that emotion during the verdict was real. Because you can see in the emotion, it was kind of like he was hyperventilating. And they had to actually calm him down, give him water. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't imagine what he was going through in that moment. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I agree, but it still looked like it looked like he reenacted it to the first breakdown to make the first one not look fake, right? That's
Well,
all
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
yeah, I
I'm
get
not
what you're
doubting the
saying.
emotion.
Yeah,
I'm doubting the actions that came out of the emotion, if that makes sense.
gotcha. No, it does make sense. So, and I get what you're saying. I think that those emotions were genuine emotions. Um, Now the emotions with him on the stand, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? He could just be an ugly crier. We don't know. And like you said, when the defense, because they had been going through I guess, what's the word I'm looking for here? Mock testimony or mock interviews. And so he had those interviews were well rehearsed, and he was told how to answer those interviews. So when the prosecution got he wasn't able to mock prosecution's interview. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't know what they were going to ask. So what
Well,
happened?
generally they do rehearse that. You don't know the
Yeah,
exact questions, but you
yeah,
kind of know
yeah.
the line of questioning, and you
Right.
try to get somebody else to come in and question your client so that they can get a feel, right?
For
Somebody that they don't know, but
how it's
like,
gonna
yeah,
be.
yeah,
But
like come in and drill them.
so I mean, I didn't watch the trial. I don't have court TV. I could have watched it on YouTube, I guess. But me personally, I think that I don't know what kind of questions did the prosecution ask. They were questions about the shooting, right? So what
Yes.
he had to do was pretty much relive that moment. And you know what I'm saying? And you don't know what kind of fear he had in that moment. You know what I'm saying? He was actually being chased by a mob. You know what I'm saying? And what in the prosecution, they're trying to get their case across. So it's like he has to relive that moment. And like you said earlier, we talked to our mutual friend, and I know what PTSD is. I suffer from it as well. You know what I'm saying? But we he got to explain like a PTSD in the firefight. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So he was able to kind of give us an outside looking in type of deal. You know what I'm saying? Because so yeah, you asked a 17-year-old kid to relive a moment with PTSD, and you expected him not, and people expected him not to show emotion. It was gonna be a tall task. It's gonna be a tall task for anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So here's some of my takeaways from the case, right? Like I said, I was invested in this case, as I am with the Ahmaud Arbery case that's going on now. It's actually in deliberations as we're
Well,
recording.
yeah, but you should be more in invested in Ahmaud Arbery as well as every other black person
They
than the Kyle
they
Rittenhouse case.
no, see, and that's the question I get. They showing coverage of both on court TV, back and forth, right?
Yeah.
But there are elements that are standard in both cases, right? There's the element of self defense, like this is the Second Amendment right we're talking about here, the right to bear arms, right? All of that thing is in question. So that's even though I'm black and Kyle Rittenhouse, a 17-year-old kid, that still can affect me in other ways, right? Like if we end up in anarchy, you know what I'm saying? Then it's like I need to know what my rights are and what can I do? What can I get away with? So I was invested in that. And it doesn't have to be racial for me to get in. I'm invested in the law, right? I'm not trying to see color in these cases. And that's the point I was about to make before I let you get back to your statement is I think that if the prosecutor hadn't jumped to judgment early on, they could have got him on some charges, right? Like, for one, I think they overcharged. They hastily overcharged, and the prosecutor was not prepared. Like, I know you said you didn't watch it. They brought in this new enhanced drone video the Friday before closing arguments started, right? And this video showed the first shooting incident in a whole different light, which made the prosecution kind of change the narrative of what their case was, right? Their case started as this isn't self-defense, and it started moving to there was I forgot the political term, like causation, or they changed the whole in one day because they got the video. And I think that's why he was trying to get the mistrial. Like, if I got a do-over, I could at least charge him the same, but get him convicted on something less. So go ahead.
All right, so you said something about the right to bear arms, and somehow, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you said the cases are similar.
Yes, because in the Ahmaud Arbery case, they are trying to claim elements of self defense and the elements of an old law that has been taken off the books since this incident of citizens' arrest.
Okay.
So,
all right. So peep this out, and I'm gonna tell you why they're not similar, right? And I mean, yeah, you can argue self-defense in both cases. They're similar in that aspect, but as far as the right to bear arms, they're not. You have Kyle Rittenhouse. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he's underage, but and they were protecting a business. I think they were protecting a business
yes,
at the point. He also had first aid, everything else. You know what I'm saying? They were also there to render aid to anyone who got hurt. Kyle Rittenhouse case, he was being pursued by a mob, right? And his self-defense case is so much different than the three dudes in the Ahmaud Arbery case. And I say that because he was being pursued by a mob while Ahmaud Arbery, the victim, was being pursued by three dudes with guns. You know what I'm saying? So the cases are different. You know what I'm saying? So in that case, Ahmaud Arbery posed no threat. The mob that was pursuing Kyle Rittenhouse did pose a threat. You know what I'm saying? So those cases to me are vastly different. Go ahead.
And that's why I say you got to watch. So here's where the similarities lie, right? Because with this new drone footage, they were trying to say that Rittenhouse was the aggressor. He had a chance to flee. And after the first shooting, the first guy he shot, the people that chased him were chasing, as the prosecutor kept trying to call him, a active shooter, which gives them the right to try to confront an active shooter to alleviate more damage to people. That's what they tried to change the case to toward the end.
Let me ask you a question.
And in one second.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
And in the Ahmaud Arbery case, right, they tried to say that Ahmaud Arbery was the aggressor once he came around the truck. So now Todd had to use, now it was self-defense to protect his father, because he didn't know when he got on the side of the truck if he was going to jump in the back of the truck and hurt his dad, or if he was going to come around and he didn't know if he had a gun. He didn't know what he was going to do once he got to the side of the truck. Okay, so that's how they're trying to. Go ahead.
Let me ask you two questions.
Okay.
In the case of an active shooter, are you going to pursue that active shooter?
I'm not. Nope.
Okay. No, all right. For sure. I'm glad you answered that honestly. And so My second question is, had that mob not pursued that active shooter, would anyone else have gotten hurt? With that
But that's what
second guy got shot,
Mhm.
and would the third guy have gotten injured?
Exactly, and that's what they were trying to say. Had it not been for Kyle Rittenhouse provoking the first shooting, that's what the prosecutor tried to say. And
Okay.
toward the end, right, when he seen he was losing his original case, toward the end, he's like, well, Kyle kind of provoked it because he pointed the gun at him sooner than what was reported. That's what
You
the
mean you
drone video
mean you
kind of
mean the
showed.
pedophile when he shot the pedophile?
The
Because
first
I was the
person he
first
shot.
dude that got shot, the pedophile.
Yes,
Do
the
you
one
mean the
that was
dude
going around.
the pedophile was the dude that said he was gonna fuck Kyle Rittenhouse up, right? And he was gonna kill him. He was gonna take his gun and kill him.
Yeah,
And that's the same dude
yes.
that Kyle Rittenhouse turned around and the dude was standing right there and reached for the gun.
Yes. But here's the thing. Wait, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's what that's what you've heard though. There was no evidence presented in court of that conversation of him saying he's gonna fuck him up.
Okay, but no,
Just witness
but
testimony. Just a
so
couple
let's talk
witnesses
about the
testifying.
let's talk about the latter of the latter of my statement. You know what I'm saying? Did he confront Kyle Rittenhouse? Did he? What did he do?
What they're saying is that's what I'm saying is what the prosecution tried to say after they got this new drone footage. Because everything you've seen so far was from that eyewitness footage on the lower level. But
Mm-hmm.
from the drone footage, you could see the route he actually took. And they're like, he had an escape route where he didn't have to shoot anyone, right? Like he even showed a route where a guy in a wheelchair fled the other way once they heard the random shot that they kicked everything off, right? The first shot wasn't from Kyle Rittenhouse. It was
Okay.
from
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can't think of
So
the guy's name right now.
can
But yeah,
we really say that, oh man, he could have chose this other route? When you're in that moment and your adrenaline is rushing and you're in fight or flight mode, you honestly, you're just looking for a way to safety. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Go ahead.
And so I agree with you, and that's kind of what the defense hit on. Is like you can't go textbook. You have to be in the mind of a 17-year-old kid at the time, right? Which
A
also leads
scared
back to
17-year-old
a
kid.
scare, exactly. Which also leads back to what other people's complaint about the verdict is that why is the 17-year-old kid out there? Like the 6 and 7 charge got dropped before it was even the case was handed over to the jury because the prosecution misquoted the law. Because in Wisconsin you only have to be 16 to be
Right.
outside with a long gun, as
With a
long as
long
it
rifle,
wasn't
yeah.
considered a deadly weapon based on the dimensions. The prosecution had never presented any evidence that this was considered a whatever severely dangerous weapon is. I can't think of the exact terms they use because the barrel has to be so long. They never presented any of that evidence, and I knew at that point when the judge dropped those two charges, it's over. It's purely self-defense now, right? Like if you could have, and here's my other big problem with the people that have been commentating about the verdict, and I'm going to tell you one particularly in a minute because I'm losing respect for him by the second. But they kept saying, why did he bring the gun across the border? He didn't bring the gun across the border. The
Right.
gun was already there,
Yeah. The
right?
gun was given to him.
The gun was given to him, right? That's what I'm saying. Like there was so much. The gun was purchased for him, but left in Wisconsin at his friend's house that was there with him that night. He didn't bring it from Illinois to Wisconsin like the media wanted you to believe, right? Like,
And he didn't
and
kill
that's what
any
I'm going to
black
say.
people like the media wanted you to
Exactly.
believe.
Exactly. Like Ben Crump, I wish I could pull it up. He put a statement out the night after the verdict was what came in. He put a statement out to Court TV, and like the host of the show that I watched at night on Court TV said, he understands the sentiment he was trying to go for, but he was so wrong on so many of the facts that it was just ridiculous, right? Like he was the one that said that he brought it over there. He brought it across the border. What's one of the other common uh, issues that said? They said in possession of a 16-year-old kid and all of these things that have been proven wrong already in court. Ben Crump puts in his statement. So that told me right then, you have not been following this trial. You
Right.
had this.
That's because he's an ambulance chaser.
Right. You had two. Uh, uh, two interviews written up. If he was guilty, you was gonna hit send on this one. If he not guilty, hit send on that. You weren't watching this trial. As he's reading this, I'm just cringing, right? Because they're like, well, what if he was a 17-year-old black kid in this same circumstance, right? Now, that's where the host of the show was like, I understand the sentiment you're trying to get to, but this purely was self-defense from the beginning, right? It was just, was he allowed to use deadly force, right? So the second prosecutor, he made a good point in closing argument saying, dude, you were taller than this guy that you killed. You were bigger than him. You could have hit him in the head. You could have kicked him in the nuts. You could have hit him with the gun. Did you have to shoot him?
Well,
Right?
obviously that prosecutor has never heard the story of David and Goliath. Just because you're
I
bigger and
understand.
taller and whatever than the person that you going up against doesn't mean you're automatically gonna win.
But
Kids
again, that's
kids
another.
kids say it crazy because they be like, man, I heard some kids say, man, yeah, he only 7. I kick his butt. Man, man,
Okay.
okay. Okay. Yeah, okay.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, that right there showed the prosecution trying to change the direction of their case right there. Like, they knew they lost. There was so many other instances. Like, he brought up, soon as Kyle Rittenhouse got on the stand and he was able to cross-examine him, within the first 3 minutes, the judge had to remove the jury because he brought up the man's Fifth Amendment right. He's like, you haven't spoke to anyone about this. You haven't told your story any other time. So now you come in here and tell your story? Which, when they read your Miranda rights, you have the right to remain
Remain
silent.
silent.
Anything you say can be
will
used
be
against you in the
held
court of law.
will be held against you
Exactly.
in the court of
So,
law.
and the judge was like, how dare you try to use, deny this man his Fifth Amendment rights? You know he doesn't have to say anything. He doesn't even have to testify because of his Fifth Amendment right.
Right.
And so the judge was heated. This was so funny to me, man. Like, I was up early in the morning, dying laughing. So the prosecutor was like, "Oh, I was trying to do this and I was trying to do that." And the judge was like, "No, you're not fooling me. Don't let it happen again." And the judge was like, You're right on you might have crossed the line already." What? I'm not gonna say anything. Let's just continue. The judge was ready to call mistrial right then, but I think that's what the prosecutor wanted. But the defense didn't motion for the mistrial right away because they knew they was winning.
Yeah,
For
they was
him to
winning.
pull that,
I'm not gonna motion for a mistrial because I'm winning.
and I'm winning.
Yeah.
And I'm
That's
like,
crazy.
I'm sitting there like, I don't have a law degree, but when he asked that question, I'm like, you can't say that. And that's what the judge was like. That's law 101, right?
Yeah.
2 seconds after he just get chastised for this, he goes back in and he brings up a line of questioning that they already said pre-trial they couldn't do. Man, the judge was hot. Judge kicks the jury back out. And he just like read on the riot act, dude. And the prosecutor trying to stand there all, well, I thought it opened the door and this and that. And he's like, you're really pushing me. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
But
so we've been hearing a lot, the reactions, earlier you said something about the reactions to the verdict. And a lot of reactions that we've been hearing is that if he was a black man, he would have been guilty. He would have been found guilty. Well, I have an article here that will debunk whatever theory that is people think.
1 second before you get into that, because that's dope. Only thing I would say, like Vinny Politan, that's the host of the court TV show. Okay. Like, he said he understood Ben Crump's sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing that I would say to that is that had it had been a black man and everything happened the same way, he wasn't walking past no cops with no long gun hanging from his goddamn neck saying, I just shot somebody. That's the only part that I would potentially agree with, right? Like, I don't think it goes down that way. I think the reporter that got injured, Grossberger, I can't pronounce his name, the one survivor, right?
Uh-huh.
He got shot in the arm and things, and he lied. He said his gun had fell out his waistband, and that's why he had it in his hand. He picked it up. Video clearly shows as he's walking with Kyle and then starts pursuing him, he pulls the gun out. Right? So that's another, like, it was so many misconceptions and misleading statements leaked to the media before the trial that you have to watch it. Like, this dude did not look credible at all.
Right.
Like,
Facts. Facts. Don't
like,
look
dude,
credible
I'm
at
sorry
all.
for your arm, but you done fucked up your $10 million that was waiting on you.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Maybe
like,
more. Maybe more.
Maybe more. So yes, that's the only thing I will say about had it been a black kid. I would think, and this is just my humble opinion, there was a greater chance that there would have been another vigilante out there that would have exacted justice on the street there, or he wasn't going to be allowed to go home to Illinois and come back and turn himself in. That's all I would say.
I'm not gonna say it would have, but in that moment the police were confused as well. You
Well,
saw it
the
in the
officer
video.
testified. Yeah, the officer testified like they were outnumbered and they were just trying to move people back and push them. They was trying to funnel them to a certain area. So in that moment, they were more concerned with getting everybody off that street. He really ain't hear what he was saying, right? Like,
Yeah, he didn't hear what he was saying. That's true.
right.
You can even see it
That
in the
came out
video
of the
because
street.
they kept telling him like, "Hey,
Yes.
get out the street.
Get the fuck out the street. Go." Right. So I don't know. And then one more point before you get to this story that we discovered earlier, that happened on the same day. By the way, that's very coincidental. Is that when the defense was going over the video, they broke it down to where there were other people around Kyle Rittenhouse who he never raised a gun at, even after the first shooting. He only raised the gun at those people that were aggressors to him. Right? That's when the prosecutor
Bingo.
had the. That's
I'm
when
mad
they
I
knew
don't
they
put
were
my
losing.
soundboard. I'd have gave you a ding. Yeah.
So,
Ding, ding,
but
ding.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and I mean, even in that case as well, it's unfortunate, that those people had to lose their lives, in that situation. I I agree with the verdict 100%. I believed from the jump. I will have to go back and listen to, but I believe that from the jump I was self-defense all the way. I didn't even agree with the whole Jacob Blake, the situation that kicked all of this off. I believe we talked about that too. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, getting back to the article that I had mentioned, we were talking to one of our mutual friends again, and he had brought this case up, and he asked if we heard about this case down in Vero Beach, Florida, where a black man actually was being charged with the murder of his girlfriend. He was acquitted of shooting at deputies in a raid that led to the death of his girlfriend. This guy, I mean, you can look it up. My source for this, I believe, was the Boston Herald, BostonHerald.com, I believe it was. But what they said was that he was pretty much not guilty of charges of felony murder and attempted murder of a law enforcement officer. And this happened back in 2017. So what happened is they were serving a warrant on the residence, and they were looking for his dad, who they wanted for drug trafficking. They arrested the dad, and then after they arrested the father, they went into the home. I guess SWAT or somebody broke the window, and he woke up and he started shooting. His quotes. I have a couple quotes here. Give me a second. Let me go through. So here's his first quote. He said, "Quote: I'm not saying that they didn't announce themselves. I'm saying that I didn't hear them." End quote. That was because they said that they announced themselves, and he should have known. But what he said, that quote that I just said, he said, "Look, I'm not saying that they didn't announce themselves. I didn't hear it. I was scared. I heard broken glass. I was scared, and I got up and I went into self defense mode." Um, he They pretty much let him on. They believe this story. Him saying that I didn't think it was law enforcement. I thought it was somebody breaking in or whatever because of the thing that his dad had going on in that home. He was obviously a drug trafficker, drug dealer, whatever you want to call it. But it's unfortunate that his girlfriend, Altiera Woods, I believe is her name. I believe that's how it's pronounced. His name is Andrew Coffey the Fourth. So, however, he is not guilty on the murder charge and the attempted murder charge of a law enforcement officer. However, he is guilty of having a firearm as a felon. So, and we talked about this earlier, the family of Altiera Woods, they are happy of the jury's verdict and they believe that justice prevailed. Now you you seem to think that they're happy because their case against the city is now valid. You know what I'm saying? Which I agree with. Because if they blamed it on Andrew Coffey, they don't get any money. You know what I'm saying? But because the police officers, law enforcement is at fault here, they about to get paid. So that debunks the theory of if he was black, he would have been guilty. This man was not guilty of shooting at police officers, but he will be found guilty of owning a firearm as a felon. He'll be sentenced for the firearm conviction on January 13th, 2022. So
But like watching all these trials, right? Like listening to the lawyers and things in these trials, they're saying self-defense is one of the hardest things to prove, right? Like our friend we're talking about, when we were talking about Rittenhouse, he brought up the Trayvon Martin case and how he believed that was self-defense the whole time. I disagreed with him, and he told me some facts, and I kind of started seeing his point of view. But it all comes down to how the jury is going to examine the incident at that time. Like he's saying, if you're getting to a fight and you start beating this dude so bad and beating his head into the ground and he shoots you, then at that point, you hitting his head into the ground could have been considered deadly force, so he was able to use deadly force in return, right? I don't want to go back through the whole Trayvon Martin thing because I've upset a whole lot of people over the years because of this, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And then I just wanted to mention one other case that was happening this week. There's this guy, Julius Jones, that was on death row in Seattle, in Washington. And it took the governor to the last hours to commute his sentence. And there's been someone who admitted to doing a murder, admitted that he wasn't even there, and this guy's been on death row for years, since a young age, and he was hours away from being executed. And they were worried that the governor was not going to commute his sentence because he was going to worry about what his voters would say if he did. That kind of, I don't know, man. It's hard.
And I think he also denied the the medicine that they give him before to keep him calm because they know the execution is coming. So he denied that as well. But there was an outpouring of support, for him. I don't even know what he did. I'm not familiar with the case, but that him commuting that or getting rid of the death penalty was pretty much based on the fact that he'll never be up for parole. He'll never be able to get out. He has to spend the rest of his life in prison. So that was the contingency of commuting the death sentence. You know what I'm saying?
See, I didn't see that part. I didn't read any details about
it. So I kind of read up on it a little bit. I kind of checked it out, but that was the contingency of commuting that death sentence. He'll never be up for parole. He'll never be able to get out. He has to spend the rest of his life in prison.
Yeah, but he can still appeal his case, though, right? If there's new evidence that comes about, really, I'm gonna have to look into that.
He can't appeal.
Give away all his appellate rights.
Well, I mean, if you want to live and die naturally, if you want to die naturally, you know what I'm saying, you will. If you don't want to die right then, because I mean, he was an hour away from death. You know what I'm saying? He was an hour away from death, and what would you do? You know what I'm saying? Would you give up your rights to just live? You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, you confined to the walls of that prison, but you know what I'm saying? There is a chance. I mean, he has no chance of getting out. He has no chance to appeal, and that's what the contingency of the him being exonerated. Well, him not having that death
sentence
penalty.
being commuted.
Yeah.
You said something like he was an hour away from death, man. We talk every day about different issues that we see across the country, man. I just want to put this out here. We got a whole lot of young brothers that aren't incarcerated that's an hour away from death, right? Like,
that's
based
facts.
on the decisions that they make. And
that's facts.
I really wish they wake up and make better decisions, man.
Yeah. Just recently we lost the Memphis Legend, Young Dolph. Rest in peace.
Yes.
Keep the prayers for his family. That man was going to buy cookies, and three black men gunned him down. It's senseless. It's senseless. And I know it's not the right time to say this, but where was Black Lives Matter? Where is Black Lives Matter? It seems like they only show up. I've said this before. It seems like they only show up when we're being killed by the other party. You know what I'm saying? By another race. We have a problem going on in our community. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad to see. It's sad to see. But I regress.
I agree with you 100%. We're living through a pandemic and an epidemic, right?
Yep.
I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and things are like my eyes are open wider to things, but it seems like it's happening at a greater rate and I don't have any numbers in front of me to back this up, but this is sad, it's sickening, and sad at the same time.
I wouldn't say it's happening at a greater rate. I would say it seems like it's happening at a greater rate because we have the world at our fingertips. We have the news at our fingertips. We have social media at our fingertips. So it seems like it's happening at a greater rate because now we're getting all this information. We're getting all the stats. We're getting all the murders. You know what I'm saying? And everybody is attached to this imaginary cloud. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not imaginary, but, we got this cloud everybody is attached to. So you can send information out at the drop of a dime. You know what I'm saying? So, but what I will say, about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing is he's about to be a rich 17-year-old. He's about to be very, very rich. And I say that because the civil suit that he's about to file is going to make him a multimillionaire. Everybody came out and said, this dude is white supremacist. He has white supremacist ties. FBI came out and said, we didn't search through his social media. We didn't search through his phones. We didn't search through everything, and we find no ties to white supremacy.
So to put a bow
Go ahead.
Yeah. Just to put a bow on my thoughts about the end of this situation and Kyle Rittenhouse moving forward is I think we need to take couple lessons, right? And we talk about this all the time. Like we talked about the case of the guy that got shot during the DUI stop in Atlanta. Like, let's not jump to conclusions until we see all the facts and evidence, right? Same with the Jacob Blake case. But then also, do you see the support that he got from his community? Right? Like, we need to support our own when they're in a just situation, right? Instead of supporting the negativity, let's support, you know what I'm saying, just causes and things like that. That's just my 2 cents.
So there was another issue, and I'm mad I didn't bring this up sooner. But about the excuse that black people were saying, well, if he was black, he would be found guilty. Well, to be honest with you, if he was black and this was a similar situation where he killed 3 black dudes, he wouldn't be charged. He wouldn't be in the courts because the hood has a no snitch policy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, so this dude would have got it. That dude would have got off just like this dude. And you know what I'm saying? And according to black folks, oh no, you don't snitch. I'm sorry, bro. It don't fly anymore because now we're losing our babies because of this senseless bullshit that's allowed to keep going on. And it's crazy. It's crazy.
I had another point to make to piggyback off of that, and I just forgot.
But yeah, man. So I'm good, bro. You know what I'm saying? If you can't remember your point, you know what I'm saying? I think it's about time for us to scoot on down the road.
Whoa. We can't leave without talking about who let Nas down this week.
Oh man, I got 2.
Wait.
I got 2 people who let Nas down this week.
All right, well, let's get it. Go ahead. Wait a minute.
My first one pertains to the Kyle Rittenhouse case.
Okay.
Kamala Harris. Your vice president, Kamala Harris. After the case, after the verdict, she tweeted out, quote, "Today's verdict speaks for itself. I've spent a majority of my career working to make our criminal justice system more equitable. It's clear there's still a lot more work to do." End quote. Well, let me tell y'all about Miss Kamala Harris. She ain't spent her career trying to make criminal justice system more equitable because she was locking people up for marijuana charges while telling people that she smoked weed in college. Come on.
While she was listening to Tupac.
While she was listening to Tupac and Snoop.
In college, right?
Like, are you serious right now? Come on, man. Nah. So
it was like
that's
2 years old.
That's my number 1 let Nas down. My number 2.
Wait, real quick, because it just came back to me when you said the Kamala Harris thing, and it kind of goes together with the reason what we need to do, like in the justice system. The reason these trials, in my opinion, turn out like that is that we do not get a jury of our peers complete, right? The Kyle Rittenhouse, there is no way that a black man can commit a crime of this nature and have 11 of the 12 jurors be black with 1 white on the jury. That's the only thing I say that needs.
Well, that goes back to the no snitch policy.
Well, no. I'm not even talking about that. I'm saying if it does go to trial, right? There's no way in jury selection 11 out of the 12 will be black. Right? So that's where the disparity comes up. Like the Ahmaud Arbery case right now is in deliberations. 11 out of 12 jurors are white. 1 black.
Yeah, but I mean, so what exactly are you saying? Because the people on trial in the Ahmaud Arbery case are 3 white men.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's where the discrepancy comes. If I'm supposed to be on trial by a jury of my peers, I should have a jury that's more suited to what my peers actually are. If I'm a black man, I don't have 11. Well, the average black man in that type of situation does not have a peer group of 11 white folks. His peer group are
what
black.
if it's a gang member? You want 11 and 12 gang members on the jury?
No, I'm not saying gang members. I'm saying,
but those are his peers.
People,
if he's a gang member,
well, all right. Let me rephrase the word peers of his community, members of his community, right?
I don't agree with that.
You're never going to see. It goes similar to what we were talking about with the movie The Harder Their Fall, right? Like if it's majority black cast, you're not going to see the masses of white people running off to see it right away, right?
I
it's
get
the
what
same thing.
I get what you're saying, but I don't agree with it. If you get I think that the word peers is the issue here.
Right. I said I should change the word.
Yeah. So, a jury of, because no one is going to be equal. If you send a gang member on trial and you have a jury of his peers or of his community, they going to say not guilty because they don't want that fallback of sending somebody to jail for the rest of his life in that community.
But riddle me this. If you were to be a jury on a trial of a gang member, right?
Uh-huh.
If it was a self-defense case, like Kyle Rittenhouse, right? You could understand some things as a black man that a white juror wouldn't understand. Like, let's take the Ahmaud Arbery case. Let's take the Ahmaud Arbery case right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no way, I'm not going to say all of them, but the majority of that jury does not know what it's like to be a black man in a white neighborhood and see three strange white men approaching you talking about, let me talk to you.
Yeah,
I don't care if they never pulled the gun. I don't care if they never pulled the gun on them. They cannot relate to them saying, hey, let me talk to you. Right? Because that's part of the black experience. That's all I'm saying as far as for the jury. You need those people who can be your jurors that understand your plight. You don't have to be in the same thing. You don't have to be a gang member. You don't have to be like, I would love to sit on a bunch of juries. I'd love to have been on the jury in the Rittenhouse case.
I get denied. The last case that I was asked to be a juror on, they dismissed me. I didn't even get past the second round of questioning because I told them I believed in the death penalty. And eye for an eye. You take a life, because they told us what the case was. And I said, and they asked me if I believed in the death penalty. I said, man, this dude took 3 lives. I believe in an eye for an eye. Yes. I believe the death penalty. I was like, but what I also said was that, what are the facts? I like to see the facts. And if the death penalty is warranted, then yes, I believe in the death penalty.
All right. I got to go to jury duty one time, and it was the same day that the last R. Kelly trial in Chicago happened. And I thought that I was going to be part of that jury pool, but I got put in the pool for some. Yeah, I got put in the pool for some insurance case. But anyway, who's your second? Let's not let Nas down because we're running long. Let's go.
LeBron James. You let Nas down, bro. I don't even care if your team won that night, but you punched that dude in the eye and you bloodied him up, man. Nope. He hit him with a closed fist and he knew exactly what he was doing. And then what he did was he threw a rock and he tried to hide his hands while everybody else jumped to save LeBron. But what I think is happening in the league, there is no respect for LeBron James. Because like we said before, they wouldn't have done that to Michael Jordan. They wouldn't have done that to Kobe Bryant. You know what I'm saying? There is no respect for LeBron James. Yes, he's a great player. The league thinks that he's a great player. He's the marquee player. He's the face of the league. But there's no respect for LeBron James. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with 99% of what you said, but I watched the video. Only thing I don't agree with is that he hit him with the open fist. What I seen, and this is what I explained to you earlier.
I said closed fist.
I mean closed fist. No, right. From my perception, it looked like the elbow. But I said by his fist being closed, that shows intent. Because if you're going for a rebound, your hands are going to be open to go get the rebound, right? But once you elbow, you would have elbowed him like, hands open, elbow. But he closed his fist and gave him one, right? Like that to me showed intent.
But
I'm not saying
he didn't hit him with an elbow.
Yeah, he did. That's what opened him up. Yeah,
No,
that's what
he
opened
hit him
him
with
up.
the fist. Man, you need some higher bandwidth over there, man.
Man,
You need
I'm
some
at
higher
1.5
resolution.
gigs, man.
You
I'm
need
at
some higher
1.5
resolution,
gigs.
man. He hit him with a fist.
Anyway, all right, so I guess we'll be arguing about that for the rest of the week. But we're about to get out of here. Again, it's a pleasure, my brother, as always. We actually might be dropping 2 episodes this week, depending on what the Ahmaud Arbery verdict is. That's probably a day or so away. It is Thanksgiving week, like so, man.
We'll have a verdict. We'll have a verdict tomorrow. I can almost guarantee it.
I say, man, if you get a chance to spend time with your family, man, the way things going in the world, man, enjoy it. Cherish that time that you got, right? Like, we got pandemics, we got civil unjust, we got like civil unrest, we got all kind of senseless action, violence, idiocy. Like, let's not forget to mention that a guy drove a SUV through a parade in a town in Wisconsin, a Thanksgiving Day parade, injured 40, killed 5, and of the 40 that was injured, it was 18 children. Come on, man. And he was a black man. Let's not, let's put it out there.
Yeah.
So, and he had just been released for trying to hit his girlfriend with the same car. And he had a rap sheet already. So it's like these are the things that make it hard when you hear a new case come up to defend a brother, right? Like, but again, I go back to my previous statement. I'm not going to rush to judgment. I'm going to wait till all the facts are come out and get that man his day in court. Because I've seen cases like that look like this before, even though he has some anti-white stuff spewed all over his car. So right now it's looking real bad for the man. But I've seen a case where it was an old person that either had a seizure or something at the wheel or a malfunction of the vehicle. So I'm just going to wait till I get all the facts to pass judgment.
Oh, smart
but
man.
I'm going to say I'm leaning toward.
Oh, he going to be convicted guilty.
Yeah.
Vehicular manslaughter.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
LeBron James, do better. You'll never be my GOAT. On that note, brother.
Facts. Let's go.
Till next time.
You've been listening to Dre and Ron's Augmented Reality.